seems a better place with that one person by our side. Two people, two lives, one unfulfilled promise. Welcome to another episode of Book Talk. Sambhavi, she smiles wide and her happiness brightens up the world around her. Arjun is elusive, charismatic and incredibly rich. He runs away from his past and the grief it brings with it. She is capable of breaking down all his barriers, imploring his heart to give love a second chance. He wants to trust her. They step into a relationship with a vow to stay together all their lives. But when disaster strikes, does their love prove strong enough to withstand the brutal force of reality? Only time will tell. Nikita Singh is an Indian writer and editor. HuffPost called her India's leading romance writer in 2017. The Hindu called her the goddess of racy reads in an article. She received a Live India Young Achievers Award in 2013 and was nominated for the first International Young Author Award 2018 in UAE. She has written 12 books, including The Promised, After All This Time, and The Reason Is You. The promise may seem predictable, but the emotion it carries is unpredictable and connecting. Every chapter starts with a chord which makes the book more involving. In this love story, the promises are broken and mended. Is it a life well lived if it's a life lived without risk? The battle against one's own heart to prevent making the same mistake again is the toughest battle to win. The desire to let go, to try, to play with the fire, knowing the demerits, concentrating on the virtues, is not easily quenched. Being burned again is a hazard one takes. Not knowing what could have been can only result in regrets. What is love if not throwing oneself unabashedly into a whirlwind of emotions? In the blink of an eye, everything changes. You meet a person and do not know whether they are going to be at one true love, or if you are going to look at them bitterly 10 years later, regretting ever getting involved with them. For Arjun, this battle was hard. Life is not like a movie whose characters we keep meeting on the way. Their roles as well as the whole plot are unknown, waiting to be discovered as we live, as life unfolds, as surprises unravel. This is not just a story about Sambhavi and Arjun, but also a lot more. True friendship needs conversation through words, eyes, smiles to make everything fine between friends. For Sambhavi, Millie was her smile, the eyes and the words. Towards the end of the promise, the writer tells us that sometimes we get so blinded by our grief that we do not see the pain others are going through. Sometimes we get so blinded by the grief others are feeling that we do not see our own pain. The latter is something only someone who loves truly and completely is capable of. That is the purest form of love. There is so much more happening right in front of our eyes, if only we really try to see. The best distraction from our own misery is to try and make the grief and sufferings of our loved ones go away. Smiling for the world, living despite grief, bouncing back every time life tries to pull one down. If only it were as easily done as said. The most painful is to see those give up who had never let anything pull them down before, no matter what they are faced with. The story is a roller coaster of emotions. Making up to someone might seem simple in theory, but it is really not that smooth a sail. Dues inexorably have to be paid. Rather than a sweet love story, it's a tragic love story of the main leads. The story gives a happy ending, which is not that happy, taking into account the hardships they went through. The author realized it herself. Maybe that is the reason she said, sometimes to find sunlight, we need to go through the densest and darkest of forests. Sometimes we seek sunshine not for ourselves, but only for the ones we love. The story is predictable. but the way Nikita Singh builds on the narrative is refreshing. At different points, we are presented with different definitions of love. The book is to everyone who has gone through something they never thought they would survive, but eventually emerges out of it stronger.